The Battle of Los Angeles. One of the biggest and most well-known tournaments across all of independent wrestling, housed in the infamous Reseda-based Pro Wrestling Guerrilla promotion. It was an annual one-night tournament held near the end of the year, with the winner traditionally gaining an opportunity at the promotion's top prize, the PWG World Championship. This has been the case for every single tournament, with the lone exception being in 2009, when the title itself would be put up for grabs in that year's tournament final, and that is what we will be discussing in today's video. If you do enjoy this video and you want to see more videos about all the random and cool stuff that comes from pro wrestling, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. With that being said, let's get right into it. Before we get into the tournament, we must first briefly delve into the promotion hosting said tournament, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. More commonly known as PWG, it was founded in 2003 out of Los Angeles, California, when the group of Scott Lost, Top Gun Talwar, Disco Machine, Joey Ryan, yes, that Joey Ryan, Excalibur, and Super Dragon. PWG, as stated by Excalibur in an interview with Yahoo Sports, was, quote, always meant to be made by wrestlers for wrestlers, and took away from shady promoters what not to do when running a promotion. The average show you'd see had the typical cutthroat work rate style that you'd grow to love in the 2000s, similar to Ring of Honor and featuring a good number of their talent like Bryan Danielson, Kevin Steen, El Generico, Roderick Strong, Davey Richards, Chris Hero, Christopher Daniels, the Young Bucks, Adam Cole, the list goes on and on. It wasn't just this serious promotion meant to highlight solely the sport of pro wrestling though. Far from it, actually. Yes, while it was showcased, it just as often included goofy, parodic, over-the-top examples of sports entertainment that never took itself too seriously. It's somewhat comparable to Chikara, although Chikara never had anything along the lines of Jushin Thunder Liger, leading a chain of sticking fingers up assholes. The PWG Championship was created in 2003, with the first champion being crowned in Frankie Kazarian, who still has me blocked on Twitter for reasons I have not quite figured out. It became a world championship in 2006 when it was defended twice outside of the US for the first time ever. As of 2009, the longest world champion was Chris Hero at an astonishing 425 days. The Battle of Los Angeles tournament was established in 2005, initially as a two-night, 16-man tournament with the winner earning a shot at the world title. The first four winners were Chris Bosch, the wrestler, not the NBA player, Davey Richards, Chima, and Low Ki. Bosch was unsuccessful in his efforts against then-champion Kevin Steen. Richards opted to challenge for the tag titles instead with future No Remorse Corps stablemate Roderick Strong, where they beat Super Dragon and CZW alum B-Boy to win the titles. Chima and Low Ki never cashed in on their title shots. Chima went back to his home promotion in Dragon Gate shortly after the tournament, while Low Ki had signed a developmental deal with WWE, which prohibited him from working PWG and just the independent circuit in general. Just as the 2009 installment was approaching, Bryan Danielson had his final match in PWG before signing a developmental deal with WWE, where he ended Chris Hero's then longest 425-day world title run. However, his own run would become the shortest as he immediately vacated the championship due to not being able to defend it. And it was announced that a new champion would be crowned at that year's Battle of Los Angeles, something that was never done before, and spoiler alert, never done again. The tournament was held in its traditional two-day, 16-man format at the American Legion Hall number 308, a building located in Reseda, California, where both war veterans and families can engage and be celebrated by their community, while also serving as a home for PWG for many years. 16 men, 3 former world champions, ROH and DDT regular Kenny Omega, ROH regular and the 4th ever PWG world champion Kevin Steen, 5-time tag champion and PWG co-founder Scott Lost, Jerome Robinson, 3-time and then current ROH World Champion Austin Aries, former WWE Cruiserweight Champion Brian Kendrick fresh off of his release, indie journeyman Colt Cabana, PWG co-founder and the 7th world champion Joey Ryan, Texas native and 9-year vet Brandon Gatson, one half of the Young Bucks Nick Jackson, former ROH tag champion and a man who donated his entire wage to an orphanage in Tijuana, El Generico, TNA mainstay and member of the Motor City Machine Guns Alex Shelley, Pennsylvania native and 5-year pro Johnny Goodtime, who filled in for Chris Sabin, who's dealing with a neck injury, another ROH regular and the Messiah of the Bat Breaker Roderick Strong, the other half of the Young Bucks Matt Jackson, and two-time PWG World Champion Human Tornado. 16 men, 2 finalists would be decided, and 1 man would walk out of Reseda as the brand new PWG World Champion. In the first match of the first round, Loss would defeat Jerome Robinson following a spinning heel kick that he called the Big Fat Kill. In the second match, Human Tornado versus Matt Jackson, Tornado defeated Jackson after delivering an inverting back suplex where Jackson landed right on the crown of his skull. Joey Ryan then defeated Cabana after hitting a super kick, which he called that 70s kick. Roddy Strong defeated Johnny Goodtime via submission to the Stronghold. Alex Shelley beat El Generico in a wonderful match, culminating in Shelley avoiding a super brainbuster and landing an avalanche sliced bread for the win. Brandon Gatson put away Nick Jackson after avoiding a 450 splash, leading to a sit-outside facebuster by Gatson. Austin Aries versus Brian Kendrick ended with Aries hitting Kendrick with the ROH World title, while Kendrick hit Aries simultaneously with a kendo stick to the back of the head. Kendrick landed on Aries and received the win. In the final round 1 match, Omega would defeat Steen after a failed Kreutz Wrath attempt by Omega turned into a picture-perfect package piledriver, who rolled into the cover but lost due to a crucifix pin at the very last minute, which would conclude night 1. The second round matches consist of Kenny Omega versus Scott Lost, Brian Kendrick versus Joey Ryan, Brandon Gatson versus Alex Shelley, and Roderick Strong versus Human Tornado. The round opened with Brian Kendrick versus Joey Ryan, where Ryan would be victorious after a pair of those 70s kicks. I guess that's how I would say it. Next up was Scott Lost versus Kenny Omega. Omega won after successfully hitting Lost with a Kreutz Wrath. Next was Brandon Gatson versus Alex Shelley. Shelley hit Gatson with 2 super kicks in succession, aimed for a third, but Gatson would grab the leg and hit a jackknife pin for the 3 count. The final match of round 2 was Roderick Strong versus Human Tornado. Roddy would beat Tornado after a power breaker sick kick combination to advance to the semifinals, where he would face Brandon Gatson while Kenny Omega would go up against Joey Ryan. The winner of both matches would meet in the finals at the end of the night. Ryan and Omega would kick off the semis, which ended with Omega hitting Ryan with a pair of Hadoukens, yes, Hadouken like from Street Fighter, and a Kreutz Wrath to advance to the finals. Then came Strong versus Gatson, where Roddy hit a double underhook powerbomb and a sick kick to put Gatson away in 5 minutes. And with this last win, the finals of the 2009 Battle of Los Angeles were set. Kenny Omega versus Roderick Strong, 2 of the best and highest skilled pro wrestlers in the world and on the independent scene, battling for one of its top prizes, the PWG World Championship. The match took place as the main event of the second night of the tournament on November 21st, 2009, and emanated from a sold-out American Legion Hall in Reseda, California. Who would leave as the 5th ever winner? With everything out in the open, let's get into this match and find out. Omega and Strong take a picture with referee Rick Knox holding the title. Ring announcer John Ian makes the introductions and the bell rings. They circle around the ring, locking a collar and elbow while trying to gain control as quickly as possible. Roddy goes for the wrist, Kenny fights out and goes for a headlock, but Roddy slides out of it and it's a stalemate. They readjust and lock up once again as Roddy gets a good grip on Omega's waist. Omega is able to get Roddy down by the leg. Roddy has Omega in a body scissors, which gives Kenny enough leeway to back into a cover early on for a 1. Roddy rolls Omega onto his shoulders for the count of 2. Again, stalemate. They slowly approach each other like cavemen yet again. This time Omega gets a takedown on Roddy by the leg and unsuccessfully tries to roll him up again before getting back into a seated position. They both exchange front face locks as well as wrist locks before Kenny gets Roddy in a headlock. Roddy sends him into the ropes and eats a shoulder tackle for his efforts. Kenny runs into the ropes, Roddy ducks him at every cost before Kenny drops him with a jumping spin kick. Roddy rolls out of the ring, Omega pops onto the apron and has something in mind, but we don't get to see what that is quite yet as Roddy trips him up and Omega lands stomach first. Strong delivers a chop, gets Omega in a fireman's carry and drops him face first onto the apron because, say it with me now, the apron is the hardest part of the ring. Strong walks around ringside with Omega, chopping him as often as he pleases until Omega eventually starts to fight back with some stiff shots of his own. In an effort to repay Roddy for earlier, Omega drops Roddy face first onto the apron before he clears an area of fans out to send Roddy right into a stack of chairs. He politely places them back where they were, gives Strong an atomic drop, seats him into one of those chairs, makes his way to the opposite side, and lands a running Meteora onto Strong. Omega attempts to bring Strong back into the ring, Roddy counters and gives a basic body slam to Omega on the edge of that apron, bending his back and landing awkwardly on the back of his neck. Both men are exhausted after a grueling weekend. Roddy grabs Omega, sits on an empty chair and unloads a clip of chops onto Kenny before Roddy slips on someone's spilled drink at ringside. I giggled. This gave Kenny enough time to briefly recover and slam Strong onto that chair. Strong and Omega make their way near the commentary table and even deeper into the audience, each unloading a series of chops and kicks respectively onto one another. Kenny backs up a little, lines Roddy up, and hits that nasty facebuster onto an unfolded chair below. Omega moves some chairs, picks Roddy up, makes his way onto the stage right near the commentary table, climbs on top of the table, and delivers a moonsault to Strong down to the floor. Kenny finally gets Roddy back into the ring, leaps to the top turnbuckle, attempts a crossbody, but Strong gets his knees up at the last second, crushing the midsection of Omega. Strong and Omega exchange forearms. Near the end of the exchange, Omega rebounds off the ropes to get some velocity on a forearm, but Strong counters with an enziguri. Strong makes his way to the middle of the ring, where Omega would return the favor with an enziguri of his own. Omega attempts to get behind Roddy for a Snapdragon suplex. Roddy quickly counters and drops Omega on his neck with a wicked backdrop variation. Strong goes for the pin, but only gets the 2. Omega backs up into the corner. Roddy charges, but Kenny gets a boot up. Roddy retreats, but tries another running attack. Omega rolls out of it, charges at Roddy himself this time, but gets treated with a disgusting knee from Strong, who attempts a suplex, but Omega gets out of it and hits a release dragon suplex instead. Kenny charges up, hits Roddy with a Hadouken, goes for the pin, but only gets the 2. Omega tries to set Strong up for Croyt's Wrath. Strong counters into an O'Connor roll for a 2 count. Strong attempts a clothesline. Omega is able to maneuver Strong into a Liger suplex without the bridge into a pin. Feeling like he's lifting a bag of cinder blocks, Omega drags up Roddy, delivers some chops, but it's not long until Roddy counters with some strikes of his own. Omega attempts an Irish whip. Strong counters with a kitchen sink, picks Kenny up with a fireman's carry, and drops a gutbuster onto Omega. Roddy goes for the pin, gets approximately 2.75. Strong immediately goes for another attack. Omega counters into a backslide pin for a 2 count. Strong just as quickly gets Omega in a double underhook position and drops him with the powerbomb. Roddy stacks him up and gets a pretty near fall. Following this, Strong runs into the ropes, but Omega catches him with a dropkick, gets to the apron, and delivers a pinpoint springboard dropkick to the shoulder of Strong. Kenny gets Strong back up, crosses the legs, and hits a fisherman's buster, goes for the pin, and gets the 2. Omega attempts to drag Strong up again, tries to get him in position for a suplex. Strong counters into a small package and gets a 2 count. Both get up. Omega hits an elbow to the side of the head, picks Strong up, and drops him with a cross-leg Falcon Arrow. Strong rolls closer to the rope. Omega goes for the cover, but Strong is able to grab the rope. Omega lines Roddy up, makes his way to the top rope. Roddy slowly makes his way up and hits Omega with a kick, debilitating him for the moment. Strong climbs up to the middle rope, gets Omega in a sidewalk position, and drops him down on the buckle to the already injured back. Both men slowly make their way up as the ref counts in case of a double knockout. Roddy hits a kick to Omega in the corner, gets Omega up in a torture position, and delivers a backbreaker from that position. Strong goes for the pin, but gets a 2 count. Strong rebounds off the ropes and delivers a sick kick to Omega. Again, Strong tries to pin, but Omega just kicks out at 2.99. Strong tries to get Omega into a fireman's carry. Omega counters with a poison Rana, gets Strong into a fireman's carry of his own before maneuvering him into an electric chair and delivering Croyt's Wrath onto Strong. Bridges into the pin, but can also only get 2.99. Strong is able to get up, only to eat 2 devastating Hadoukens for his troubles. Omega gets him back into an electric chair. Strong fights out of it and delivers some knife-edge chops. Runs into the ropes, but Kenny catches him with a spinning heel kick, but Strong fucking nails him with another sick kick on the rebound. Stacks up Kenny, but again, 2.99. That was fucking sick. Strong tries another fireman's carry, eats another poison Rana. Omega gets him in an electric chair position and into Croyt's Wrath, goes for the pin, but this time it is enough to get the 3 count and end the match. Kenny Omega is the winner of the 2009 Battle of Los Angeles, the 5th ever winner in history, and is your 15th Pro Wrestling Guerrilla World Champion. Where do I begin with this match? Well, first, the link to this full match will be in the description so you can check it out in its entirety for yourself. I thought it was a fun effort all around. I don't personally have it above like Mike Quackenbush versus Eddie Kingston from the 12 Large Finals, but it was 15 minutes of my life that I don't really regret spending. I truly believe that Roderick Strong is one of the best professional wrestlers walking the earth the past 15 years, so it's always a treat to see him at work. And I'm not as familiar with this version of Kenny Omega compared to others, so it was interesting to see how advanced of a performer he was even back in 2009. It did get a bit spotty at points. I felt that they brawled in the crowd for a tad bit too long, and repeating the entire final sequence while very impressive and honestly more polished, was a tad bit too much. That second stick kick from Strong looked fucking deadly, and in any other universe would've and possibly should've been the finish. Again, not my favorite match ever. Maybe I'm just an old man at the ripe age of 23, just not getting it. Definitely far from offensive though, and I'd love to hear your opinions on it. Most of the wrestlers involved in this tournament have made their way onto national television over the years in one way or another. WWE, AEW, TNA, Ring of Honor, even internationally in promotions like New Japan. Tournament winner Kenny Omega and finalist Roderick Strong went on to have very successful careers. Roddy is the second ever Triple Crown champion in the history of Ring of Honor, a former NXT North American and Tag Team champion in WWE, currently in AEW as a former international champion. I don't think I need to describe Kenny Omega to you, but I'm going to anyways briefly. He is the first non-Japanese wrestler to win New Japan's G1 Climax, won just about every title there was to win in New Japan, had classics with a myriad of wrestlers, most notably Kazuchika Okada, although I will always be partial to his matches with Tomohiro Ishii. First ever Grand Slam champion in AEW, former TNA World Champion. I could be here for about an hour listing his accomplishments. PWG as a whole has slowly died down in the past decade. Scott Lost retired in 2010, Top Gun Talwar has been inactive in wrestling since 2011, Disco Machine retired in 2012, Joey Ryan wrestled until about 2020 until dozens of allegations over the years were brought to light following the beginning of the Speaking Out movement, which ended his career, and no one has successfully brought him back since. Likely never will. A stupid schmuck in Portland tried to bring him back last month, but to no avail after he faced severe backlash, that stupid ass. Hi, I'm sorry. It's like 9:30 in the morning. I'm in the middle of editing this. I just saw something fucking stupid and I wanted to briefly talk about it. Joey Ryan apparently is making videos on YouTube claiming that cancel culture is what ruined his wrestling career, and not the fact that he allegedly, of course, abused 18 fucking women at least. There's probably more that I'm not seeing, but the article I just saw says 18. For someone who has these fucking sex anonymous ships or whatever the hell it's called, the fact that people are giving those to you and you have no fucking remorse or accountability for any of the fucking bullshit that you pulled on these women. Cancel culture got me. I'm so fucking sure cancel culture got you. If that didn't get you, fucking 2022 would have got you when your gimmick finally got stale. You're the dick flip guy, bro. What the fuck else do you have going for you? It's disgusting, and that's about as long as I'm gonna keep it. Fucking get better. That brings us to our final two founders, Excalibur and Super Dragon. Excalibur has been with AEW since its creation, where he serves as the lead play-by-play for their weekly show Dynamite, and the company has essentially served as a spiritual successor to PWG in a lot of ways. He is still a co-owner of PWG alongside Super Dragon, who mostly runs it himself these days. Well, not so much recently. PWG has been put on hiatus on numerous occasions over the years and has faced numerous setbacks. They left Reseda in early 2018 and moved their home base to the Globe Theater in Los Angeles. They went on hiatus in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic and didn't hold another show until August of 2021. They went into hiatus yet again in 2023 by Super Dragon due to wanting to help his girlfriend battle an aggressive form of cancer. He said it would return by 2024, but as we are just a few months away from 2026, there hasn't been many updates on a revival. That leaves even more uncertainty for the brand. Obviously, the most important thing for Super Dragon is making sure those in his life are well and taken care of, something we can all respect. The Battle of Los Angeles continued year after year until 2003, with some exceptions obviously made due to the pandemic. The first and likely only two-time winner is Ricochet, and the most recent winner is Speedball Mike Bailey. If PWG never does come back and it's truly the end for them, professional wrestling would not be the same without it, for better or worse. Don't be sad that it's gone, be happy that it was here and that we all got to experience it in the first place. But yeah, that was the 2009 Battle of Los Angeles. What did you think? Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you thought about this video, as I look for all feedback, positive or negative. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace out.